Part 4. Aceh. A nation before the fire and genocide begin. Aceh was a sovereign, independent nation with a history of gender balance, featuring both women and men serving as kings. It had its own treaties with more than 40 nations, gold currency, dinar and dirham, laws and qanuns as guidance, recognized by countries like Britain, Turkey, Morocco, China, and many more. A truly cultured, knowledge and just society. December 1945 kicked off the Kumbak tragedy, a horrific time of genocide and ethnic cleansing. They called it a brotherly. But it fueled with lies and propaganda by Java and the Dutch. In reality, it was a brutal massacre. In just 1 month, over 1,200 Acehnese got murdered. Royal, nobles, ulama, children and women were killed. And the horror didn't stop there. They were hunted down, raped, burned, and executed. This was carried out by new Indonesian army and Dutch remnants. It was engineered by British, Dutch, and Japan, monitored by the USA. The USA used to take gold from Aceh Royal, trade it with useless papers. The aim was to erase Aceh forever. They didn't just kill, they erased. The genocide of a nation had begun. Part 2. The genocide and ethnic cleansing continue. Since, the killing just kept going. We counted from 1952-2005 only, more than 50,000 children killed, 20,000 raped to death, 30,000 women raped, 1,200 mass graves, over 150,000 lives lost, thousands still missing. Their families wait in vain. The Indonesian military, backed by global powers, waged war on Aceh. They called it security, but we call it genocide. Mass graves spread from Sabang to Aceh Singkil. No mourning allowed, no language allowed to speak, no culture allowed to thrive. Part 3. The tsunami. Then came 2004. The sea rose, and the tsunami showed the world Aceh exists. 230,000 dead, 500,000 homeless. The hypocrisy of aid and organizations. The world donated USD 7.7 billion in the name of compassion. Only a tiny bit of aid actually reached Aceh. Over 5 billion went to fancy hotels and logistic, while 450+ NGOs took donations, many of the same groups, that once backed Indonesia's military, but now pretend to care and compassion. Part 4. The stolen children. When the water receded, the child trafficking began. Hospitals, mosques, refugee tents, 300+. Acehnese children disappeared. They were taken by NGOs, traffickers, military units, and so-called humanitarian vans. The Indonesian military and police facilitated and protected this trafficking, all while pretending to provide disaster relief. Fitriani, 8, disappeared in Swak Ribi, later traced to Malaysia. Nurul Azmi, 13, trafficked to Singapore. Siifa Binti Armia, 6, taken at Aleluya port by a foreign volunteer. A child can survive a tsunami, but not the hands that steal them afterward. Part 5. The mother's voice. Do you know what silence does? It kills truth. She whispers. A mother in a dark room holds a photo. Her candle flickers. I buried my daughter with my hands, and they called it peace. Her voice trembles. How can the world ask forgiveness when they helped erase her name? I just want the truth, she said. Do you know what our scholar said? Silence in the face of injustice is the loudest sin. Al-Aceh buried its children. These organizations buried the truth. BBC filmed our villages burning. CNN aired our mothers crying. HRW called it systematic. Amnesty called it torture. The UN called it internal, and the world called it silence. Part 6. MOU Helsinki. Peace for perpetrators. In 2005, they signed the Helsinki MOU. Peace, they said. But the killers walked free. No international trial, no real truth commission, only symbols. ExxonMobil stayed. Medco Energy grew. 150,000 dead. 70,000 homes burned. 5 million hectares of land stolen. The same land now produces oil, gas, gold, palm oils, and timber. that enrich others while our people live poor beside their ancestors' bones. But in Aceh, peace was the new name for occupation. Perpetrators and criminals walk free, victims continue suffer. Is this what they call peace? Peace without justice is a mask for impunity. Part 7. When Killers Become Heroes. Then came the betrayal and manipulation. Suharto, Sarwo Edi, Tito Carnavian, the killers of Aceh's children, the rapist, the murderers were made national heroes. While our mothers still cry by the empty graves, the Republic Colonial pins medals on the men who silenced them. When killers are honored, victims die twice. This is evil and inhuman. Part 8. Indonesia. Terrorist colonist legacy and theft. Indonesia did not rise from democracy. It rose from colonist legacy and theft. Maps show no referendum, no consent. Only Dutch colonist handovers to Jawa as Indonesia terrorist as their empire and not a state. The USA, Britain, Japan, Netherlands, they financed and trained Indonesia's army. Built a republic colonial on our monarchies and scholars' grave. The worst part, in 1942-1943, USA took Aceh's royal gold. Gave us worthless US certificates. Remember, Aceh sovereign nation existed. Legally, Indonesia was invented illegally, with colonist ink and colonist legacy. Part 9. The Aceh Independent Nation. The world tried to forget. Before they tried to erase us, Aceh was an amazing civilization. We had our own gold and silver currency, featuring our women and men kings, traded all over the Indian Ocean. Plus, we had over 40 international treaties, our own navy, and the world's first woman admiral, Laksamana Kumala Hayati. We are gender-balanced governance, the first or ever existed in the world in human history. But sadly, they burned our history. Our ports thrived with cities like Salem long before America was a thing. We're polite, kind, and cultured. Aceh is the first civilization in Southeast Asia, the root of it all. We shared our culture, art, and stories across oceans through Saman, Rapai Galeng, Aceh Mulangka, Ratip Museukat, and Batu Aceh, our lasting legacy that connects us to distant lands. We were legendary seafarers ruling the Indian Ocean, and our scholars and poets shaped the Malay world. Acehnese, the root of Malay, spread knowledge and diplomacy across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Sadly, some twist history, saying Aceh isn't the source of Malay culture. Even worse, Acehnese culture is often labeled as just Malay culture. This is not ancient history. It is a wound that never closed, and we remember. Aceh is a nation. Aceh is a sovereign and independent nation. Aceh will remain an independent nation, because memory cannot be colonized. This is our voice, our truth, our return. This film is dedicated to the memory of our children, our parent, and our sovereign land. Researched, written, and submitted by Sultan Fariz Saya, Aceh Independent Nation, UK, www.acehgov.org, TikTok and Facebook, bait.fariz, IG and Twitter, I'm Sultan Fariz. References: